Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. You've probably heard the quotation, "Let sleeping bears lie." Well, in the pursuit of needed scientific knowledge, we recently ignored that old warning for a good reason. That good reason was to replace batteries in the radio telemetry collars that wildlife biologists have been putting on bears in recent years to track them in their habitat. The collars send out radio signals that can be picked up by the antenna as far as 5 miles away. It is necessary to change the batteries in these collars each year. The easiest time to do this is in the winter, when the black bear is in her den, has delivered her cubs, and the new little family is hibernating. We were invited by the United States Forest Service to observe how a wildlife biologist implements this important field study. It was near the Kawishiwi River in the Superior National Forest, located in northeastern Minnesota, that we got to know the sleeping bears of Kawishiwi. The study being made on bears here at Kawishiwi Field Station is headed by U.S. Forest Service wildlife research biologist Lynn Rogers.
Ever since 1969, we have been placing radio telemetry collars on the black bears here. These collars are changed each winter while the bears are hibernating to allow continuous study. Then we can locate them during the summer at any time to study their habitat preferences and travels. In addition, blood tests made on these hibernating bears are providing answers to the mystery of hibernation and are providing important information applicable to human health. The best way to locate hibernating bears, Marlin, is by plane.
A plane with skis makes it possible for scientists like Dr. Lynn Rogers to pursue their important field work through the long Minnesota winter. The frozen Kawishiwi River serves as a runway here. It gets a lot of use because the Superior National Forest is the site of a number of wildlife studies. During our flight today, we will see only a small portion of the forest's 1,200 square miles.
With the airstrip just moments behind us, we are already over the traditional territory of a bear named Donna, who wears a telemetry collar. She was born in this forest 6 years ago and has been studied ever since. The objective of the flight today is to locate her signal from the air. Our pilot, Pat McGee, will fly a search pattern over her territory as I listen for her radio signal. The telemetry receiver has picked up a signal which has quickly become very strong. The strength of the signal and the direction indicated by the antennas on the wing struts has given us a fix on the den that our bear is using this winter. Now Pat can fly us to Birch Lake, where we will land.
The vast and beautiful Superior National Forest is a varied habitat that consists of aspens, birches, and evergreens. It provides timber, but one of the most important objectives of the studies here is to learn more about managing the forest for the benefit of wildlife. The Birch Lake area, where we've just landed, is where Lynn Rogers is studying not only black bears, but deer as well. In parts of northern Minnesota in the last 10 years, deer have become scarce, and Dr. Rogers began using semi-tame deer wearing telemetry collars to obtain information on habitat requirements. Deer near the northern edge of their range have special problems of winter survival, and good range is especially important.
I began working with these deer as fawns when they were 1 day old. I named them Katie and Jenny. They have no fear of us. We sometimes travel with them for days at a time and even stay near them when they sleep. But these semi-tame deer spend considerable time with wild deer and live off the land, eating what the wild deer do. These deer are less than a year old. Our studies show they will eventually mate with wild deer. Jenny's going back to rejoin the herd she is traveling with for the winter. So far, we have found no differences between the habits of the wild deer and the tame deer.
The knowledge the semi-tame deer provides is unprecedented in deer studies. Snowmobiles left for us by study personnel will be our transportation for the next leg of the journey to the den of Donna, the bear who is wearing the telemetry collar. The den is miles away, but is close to one of the many safe snowmobile trails that cross the Superior National Forest. We are still some distance away from Donna's den, but ahead of us is something seldom seen here, a Timberwolf. This is one of the few areas in the 48 contiguous states where the Timberwolf has not been eliminated by man. The Timberwolf is a threatened species today. The main prey of this close relative of the dog is deer, and starvation has occurred among wolves because of the recent decline in deer numbers. The wolf will indirectly be helped by studies which will increase the number of deer living in this forest. After traveling on the snowmobiles for nearly 5 miles in the direction indicated by Lynn's telemetry equipment, we knew we were nearing the den he had located from the air. In this part of the country, black bears usually stay in their dens for 5.5 to 7 months at a time. They seldom come out in winter, as do bears farther south.
Just ahead of us is an animal that we don't always find here. Lynx come south from Canada in years when snowshoe hares are scarce there. This one seems well-fed and not eager to be on the hunt. The lynx often is not as shy as most animals of the forest. Consequently, many of them are trapped or shot. We will stop short of the den to avoid waking the bear. Before we start walking, it will be much safer if we pinpoint the exact location of the den so we won't stumble onto it.
In order to locate the den exactly, Lynn uses a portable radio telemetry receiver to pick up the signal from Donna's collar. Lynn feels that our bear can't be more than 100 or so yards away. He will take all the equipment we will be needing at the den and carry it in his knapsack. Now we'll find out if this is the year Donna has had her first cubs.
I never know what to expect when I approach a den. Sometimes the bear is awake in the den, or sometimes even at the entrance to the den. However, most of the time, they're sleeping soundly in their nest inside. If they're sleeping very soundly, it takes a few minutes for them to wake up, and that's the safest time for us to administer the tranquilizer. The signal indicated that we're very close, and we had better get our equipment ready right away. Already, we have an audience at this den. As soon as the syringe is filled with a tranquilizing drug, we'll be ready to open the den. The drug we are using will probably immobilize Donna for about an hour. With the syringe attached to a long stick, it's possible to stay a safe distance from the bear.
The entrance to Donna's den is only partly closed by snow and vegetation. Soon we will know if Donna has had cubs. And she does. Though there may be more cubs, it's time to tranquilize Donna before she wakes up. Donna doesn't even seem to notice the injection, which takes effect quickly. Soon we will be able to remove the cub and take Donna out of her den. The little cub appears relaxed. Cubs are usually born in late January and at birth weigh less than a pound. This cub is about 2 months old and isn't afraid of people yet, but he appears to be missing the warmth of his mother's body. There is a second cub. Lynn had predicted she would have cubs this winter. The cubs may get cold, so we better put them in my jacket for warmth. Lynn has found that in this part of the country, the berry crop, which was abundant last summer, determines whether a female will have cubs, as well as the survival rate of those cubs. He also found in 12 years of research that food, more than anything else, is the most important factor limiting black bear population. This kind of knowledge will help little cubs like this grow to healthy maturity. While the immobilizing drug was making it safe for Lynn to enter the den, I continued to keep the friendly little cubs warm in my jacket. They seemed to be very relaxed with me, and I enjoyed their company. Dr. Rogers feels that now is the time to begin his examination of Donna, who is now safe to handle. She appears to be in excellent condition, probably because of last year's berry crop. She is nicely sedated, somewhat aware, but nevertheless immobilized.
First, we'll remove the collar. Bears can slip out of their collars if they try, but they quickly get used to them and seldom attempt to. It's important that the new collar be the same size as the old one. The new collar will be snug going over her head, but it will be just right around her neck.
Scientists have been mystified by the physiological changes that occur in bears during hibernation. Part of the answer to this mystery lies in studying the blood samples to learn why bears remain healthy during hibernation. For example, blood tests show that cholesterol and other fats in the blood rise during hibernation with no harm to the bears. This might be harmful to humans. Also, hibernating bears can go without urinating for about 6 months without poisoning their systems. This would obviously be damaging to humans. Scientists have also found evidence that bodily functions during hibernation are controlled by a hormone created by the brain each fall and winter. The reason this part of the bear study is important is that the discovery of a hormone that controls winter sleep might help patients with kidney disease. Some of the results of these studies have already been of benefit in treating human illnesses.
The study that involves these little cubs and other bears will continue to provide the answers that may help solve the mysteries of hibernation. The cubs will remain with Donna for nearly a year and a half. During that time, we will track them with the collar Donna is wearing. She will emerge from the den in spring and lead her cubs to the best sources of food, which will give us additional information about food preferences and habitat utilization within her territory. Now we are ready to weigh the cubs. Knowing the weight of this cub is important because it tells us the rate of growth in the den and its chance of survival. The cub weighs 5 pounds, which means it should do very well after it leaves the den. By fall, each cub will weigh from 20 to 70 pounds, depending on food availability during the summer. If these cubs make it through their first year, we'll check their weights again next winter for comparison. For an animal that sometimes weighs more than 600 pounds as an adult, black bears are exceedingly small at birth. These nearly helpless cubs give little hint of the amazing strength and dexterity they'll develop someday. As adults, they'll probably be able to run faster than 30 miles an hour and climb trees as quickly as squirrels. The last phase of processing of the cubs is to ear tag them. Ear tags will make it possible for us to identify these cubs as a male and a female, and we will study them as they grow up, reproduce, and establish territories of their own. The cubs react much as their mother Donna did when I ear tagged her 6 years ago at the same age, with a little protest.
Experiments have shown that mothers in dens will accept strange smells on their cubs, and even accept cubs that are not their own. The female goes into the den last. Lynn's studies indicate that she will probably make this area her home for life. Her brother will probably leave the area when he is 2 or 3 years old and will never return, moving to another area as far away as 100 miles. Donna will almost certainly remain here, sharing her territory with her daughter. As habitats like this decrease, and as human populations increase, the work of Dr. Lynn Rogers and the U.S. Forest Service becomes more important. Increasingly, it becomes more apparent that man must assume an active and positive role in assisting wildlife. We've seen the remarkable work being done here in Minnesota on the deer and bears. The information being learned not only helps us better to understand and protect these species, but may also go far to better the lot of mankind. The study being made on hibernating bears has given Lynn Rogers some important answers to some old questions. The continued study of the black bears in the Superior National Forest could result in information about the factors that might, in many ways, regulate the population of these most likable woodland animals. This information may, in fact, guarantee the continuation of the black bear population despite the unfortunate pressures on their habitat by the outside world. That's why we interrupted the long winter hibernation of the sleeping bears of Kawishiwi so that they may always be members of the wild kingdom.